then everything happened.
Reliving the horrifying moment when police shot into a crowded downtown.
I was shot and it entered in my back and then went through and out my arm.
Victims injured in the shooting react to the new body camera video revealing the moments before officers fired their weapons.
I definitely had no idea what was about to happen.
All victims in disbelief that anyone was shot that night.
It's very surprising that it didn't end up any worse.
Colorado students make improvements on state testing scores, but still fall short of pre-pandemic levels.
And mobile COVID-19 vaccine units are being converted to help accommodate a new need.
This bus is an expansion of vaccine access.
The more people just share that they've gotten the vaccine, I think the less stigma there is associated with it.
Bailey Alexander, Willis Small IV, Yakalo Waldahuet. They were all in downtown Denver the exact same July 17th night. None of them knew each other then, and now all of them are connected.
All three were either shot or injured when police shot at a suspect standing near a crowd downtown. In police body cam video released yesterday, 3 police officers shoot a man who tossed his gun and then threw his hands up. A total of 6 innocent bystanders were injured. Good evening. Glad you're with us tonight on Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Shannon Ogden.
I'm Ann Trujillo. Today, 2 of the 3 innocent victims, they watched that video and they spoke with Denver 7's Amy Wattis, who joins us now live.
So, Amy, the overall consensus they shared with you was disappointment in the actions of those officers.
Disappointment, you can say that, frustration, disbelief. 2 of the victims we spoke with say they saw that video. One of them hasn't yet. He says he's not ready to, but will in time. However, Yakalo Waldahuet says his brother saw the Denver police body camera video and surveillance footage from the Larimer Beer Hall and Halo camera. Waldahuet was shot in the upper arm. Meanwhile, the other 2 victims we talked to, Bailey Alexander and Willis Small IV, say they watched the footage right after it was released. Alexander says she was hit in the back and the bullet came out through her right upper arm. Small says he was struck in the side of his foot. All 3 victims have the same thing in common. They feel the officers who fired the shots did not do their job correctly.
As a police officer whose duty is to protect us, you would believe they take a couple more seconds to make sure that they make the right decision, especially considering everybody down there.
I definitely think that police officers were in the wrong in that moment, at that situation. I feel like a lot of steps were missed on the police departments or on the police officers' side.
I'm still in the disbelief phase of how police officers would shoot into a mass crowd like that when the suspect had his hands up, and it just makes no sense to me, the lack of training.
While these victims say they know officers made a split-second decision when dealing with the suspect they were targeting in the shooting, who was 21-year-old Jordan Waddy, they feel they could have made better decisions with a large crowd nearby. As for their conditions, all 3 victims are still physically healing. They say they are not quite 100% yet, but hope to be in the future. As for emotionally, they say last month's incident will take a long time to recover from. Now, the victim's attorneys say his clients have yet to file lawsuits in this case. However, he says they are discussing next steps. We'll keep you updated on that. Now, coming up tonight on Denver 7 News at 8 on Local 3 and 10, we'll show you where in that body cam footage and surveillance video those 3 victims were. Again, coming up later tonight. Reporting live downtown, Amy Wattis, Denver 7.
All right, Amy, thank you for that. And a grand jury will ultimately decide whether the Denver officers involved should be charged. Going in depth tonight, a grand jury is made up of 12 people. 9 of the grand jurors have to agree on whether to charge the officers in order for there to be a decision. If the jury does not decide to charge the officers don't go to trial. However, the officers could still face civil lawsuits. Over the last decade in Colorado, grand juries have indicted police in 3 of 11 cases. The most recent case involving Elijah McClain, who died back in 2019. A grand jury decided to charge 3 former Aurora police officers and 2 paramedics for their role in his death, and all 5 are still awaiting trial.
And you can watch that body cam video of the shooting downtown. Right now, we have it for you on thedenverchannel.com. You can also watch our past stories on this shooting on the free Denver 7 Plus app. Well, Aurora police searching for the driver involved in a deadly hit and run last night. It was at the intersection of North Peoria and East 17th. A male victim was crossing the street when he was hit by a black, maybe a gray Honda Pilot. This now is the 31st traffic death in Aurora this year.
Jenna Ellis, a one-time lawyer for former President Donald Trump, will have to appear before a Georgia grand jury investigating the 2020 presidential election. That order was granted by a judge in Fort Collins. Ellis is also a former deputy DA for Weld County. A Georgia district attorney says Ellis may have been involved in talks the Trump team had about false claims of election fraud.
Today, a federal judge rejected the plea deals of two former Denver teachers who attempted to pass nuclear secrets to a foreign country. Jonathan Toby and his wife Diana were teachers at the Kent Denver School in Cherry Hills Village. Jonathan then became a nuclear engineer for the Navy. Both arrested last year, and today a judge rejected Jonathan's plea deal to serve 12 to 17 years in prison and Diana's 3-year plea deal, saying they were too lenient. The Tobys will have a chance to resubmit a new plea deal before they go to trial, which is scheduled right now for next year. Well, as more school districts head back to school, we're getting a better idea of how the pandemic is still impacting students.
Test scores for Colorado students are still bouncing back from the year plus of remote learning. Colorado students are making gains on state reading and math tests compared to last year. Those numbers are still significantly lower than they were back in 2019, and that is across all grades and all subjects. The CDC director announced plans today to reform the agency, saying the CDC did not meet expectations in its response to COVID-19. Now, this plan calls for new communication and collaboration tactics, like getting data out quicker to the public. The CDC also plans to change the agency's messaging, such as getting rid of confusing and overwhelming guidance documents.
Well, some of the mobile vaccine clinics the state was using for COVID-19 are now being converted to help distribute monkeypox vaccine.
As of today, there are 163 reported cases in our state, and about 7,600 additional doses of the vaccine are expected to arrive in Colorado in the coming days.
Denver 7's Micah Smith went to a clinic today and explained why some want to move away from the term monkeypox.
For more than a year, these buses rolled all over the state, hoping to vaccinate as many Coloradans as possible against COVID-19. And now the buses are once again in action, this time targeting a different virus.
And this is a veteran team out here today, and we are making monkeypox MPV vaccine available.
Gillian Ford, the communications director for One Colorado, an LGBTQ advocacy organization, says they are working with the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment to transition COVID mobile vaccine units to monkeypox mobile vaccine units.
This bus is an expansion of vaccine access.
Ford says the bus is also helping One Colorado fight stigma surrounding the virus.
We are advocating at One Colorado alongside our statewide and national partners to shift from the term monkeypox to a more clinically derived term like MPV, to move away from some racist and stigmatizing history of the term monkeypox. People perceive that a virus like MPV it comes from monkeys, and that is not true.
Or it is or has affected, LGBT or men having sex with men, right? But it's in our community, and we're all a community.
Anthony Aragon was on a waiting list to get the vaccine and is thankful for the mobile unit.
I've been trying for the past couple of weeks to get this monkeypox vaccine. There is a sense of relief.
The FDA recently okayed administering 1/5 of a vaccine dose to patients if they receive the shot underneath the skin versus into the muscle.
Today have between 350 and 400 doses available thanks to that FDA authorization. Intradermal injection is as equally effective as a subcutaneous injection.
Ford says with more available doses, One Colorado can more effectively work to eliminate the virus and the stigma that surrounds it. Reporting in Denver, Micah Smith, Denver 7.
A lot of insurance plans don't cover them, especially for adults.
A step forward for accessibility.
That's the hope and the promise that those ripples will affect the pricing.
Hearing aids will soon be sold over the counter, opening access and availability to anyone who needs them.
This is an opportunity to be a good entry-level type of product for people that have been putting off getting help.
Sunshine boosted temperatures back to the 80s today. I'll let you know when we hit the 90s again.
Plus, we're getting an early glimpse at the progress of the 16th Street Mall.
We're designing it so that it has new opportunities for public involvement, and just a place for people to enjoy for decades to come.